What's up, people? Welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best music show, talking about everything brutal, new death, hard, grind, slam, thrashcore, and metal. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horskow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM, Tim. How is it going?
Feeling great.
Fantastic. This week, we're doing another album deep dive, and we're doing an album that it's taken a while for us to get to, but I'm glad we finally gotten to it. The self-titled debut by the band Sevendust. So, I didn't do a lot of digging, Tim, into the history. Do you have anything?
Yeah, man. Released. Let me see here. We got. This is the only thing we do notes for is the little album facts here. Released April 15th, 97, which was 26 fucking years ago.
Jesus.
And that makes me feel super old because I remember listening to this record when I was a young buck. And now I'm almost 40 and I feel super old. Goddamn, dude. Released through TVT Records. And here's the crazy part here. Produced by Mark Mendoza and JJ French, who are two of the founding members of, do you know?
Is it Twisted Sister?
Yes, sir, it is.
Twisted Sister.
Which is
How
crazy.
did they land that one?
I don't know. I would really, really love to know how that happened because when I went to look to see who produced it, I'm like, it's probably like fucking Terry Date or some shit. And I'm like, JJ, I'm like, holy shit, what?
That is wild.
Yeah, but here's another crazy fact for you. How many records do you think it sold in the first week?
10,000.
310.
That's it?
That's it. So originally the record was considered a flop by TVT. It was like, what the fuck just happened? But I think when they played so they did Ozfest.
Mm-hmm.
They did a co-headliner with Coal Chamber.
Yep.
They did not Lollapalooza, Woodstock.
Yep.
Because they did Woodstock the month before Home came out. So you were still touring on this one, but you were playing songs off that one, I'm assuming. And then it eventually went gold and sold 732,000. So them touring went from 310 to 732,000 records.
That's nuts. I mean, we talked about this. I saw the co-headliner with Powerman. It was Powerman, them, and Coal Chamber.
Yeah.
And I mean, so when I bought this album when it came out, and I will be honest, I don't think I appreciated it as well back then as I do now. I know that. So when I made my notes for the album, I was really mostly impressed with the choruses that they write. And I don't think we're going to go song by song, but some of the choruses that they write really are almost soaring, right?
Yeah.
And the guitar work, like the riffing, is something else.
I think one of the biggest things of this band that people don't really appreciate or like actually tell or actually see is Morgan's drumming is just one of a kind, man. He is one of them drummers that just he writes beat. You know who he reminds me of? David Silveria or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of him because he's in the pocket. He's got them weird groovy parts that are hard as shit to play. Like if you go and try and play anything off the first Korn record, like even as I've been drumming for fucking 20 some years, that shit is still hard for me to play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I can double kick and shit like crazy, blah, 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 blah. But these in the pocket, just fucking beats, man, are hard to fucking do, dude. And him singing at the same time is even crazier.
Yeah, it is. He is terribly, terribly underrated.
Terribly underrated.
The other thing, so the interesting thing for me with this band was the first time I heard them was under the old name of Crawl Space.
Crawl Space, yeah.
Because they had that song on the Mortal Kombat More Combat soundtrack, which eventually we're going to deep dive once we can line up Detox.
Yeah.
That was my first experience hearing them, and the version. We'll talk about it. The version that's on this album is I would say markedly different. But I think the things that jump out at me, we talked about the riffing, we talked about the choruses. One of the things that stood out for me, Tim, listening to this album is, and I don't want to say this in a derogatory way, but it's the only way I can make the comparison: the Taproot effect. You remember when we deep dove on the first Taproot album, how the intros all start to sound the same after a couple of songs. These guys, there's 12, 13 songs in the album. It is completely varied.
Oh yeah.
Some start with guitar, some start with guitar and drums, some start with drums, some start with singing, some start with singing guitar, meaning that they switch up how each song begins, which honestly, for a debut album, is kind of an impressive accomplishment because
Yep.
you go with what you know. If you know is I'm going to start with this riff because most bands start by writing the riff. Here we go.
This is a perfect amalgamation of like funk and bass licks and shit like that, where it's kind of drowned in the mix in most parts of the record. But if you go into the deeper cuts of the record, you can hear like that funk stuff and all that stuff. So it's like, but you don't, it's not really like you hear rapping or any of that shit. There's not really that much stuff like that. But back then, who were the other bands that were doing that kind of stuff? It would be Power Man, maybe.
Power Man, and the lazy pick is usually Fishbone.
Yeah, shit like that. But like
Yeah.
in the deeper cuts, man, I was listening to it again, and I'm like, because I'll be honest, this record, the first 5-6 tracks are where the flesh and bone is for me, if that makes sense to you. And then the deeper cuts, they get a little bit more funky in there. And then, like the two closer tracks, they go back to the formula. But like, it's just weird to hear that back then and then not see a bunch of bands jump on that, because as big as the record got, like you would think that that would be a really big segue for bands to jump on, but you didn't really see it.
Right.
If that makes sense to people listening,
No,
I'm saying it completely wrong, but
no. What you're basically trying to say is that was the way they did it was so good and so strong, but also so well put together. You would have thought many other bands would have aped that sound and said,
exactly,
"Oh, we can do that."
Yeah.
I think you're right. Well, the first 4 songs of the album, "Geez, I'm getting old." Black, right, which is that awesome intro. Bitch, Terminator, and Too Close to Hate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang, 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 bang.
Bang, 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 bang. You're correct.
The choruses, the riffs, the songs are just fun to listen to. I will be honest. Right after that, Wired, not a fan.
Yeah, it definitely takes a turn there, but it gets better as it goes. And that's basically what I'm talking about. Like it takes a turn for the worse at some parts. Like I have the same thing for Wired. The first 4 songs are perfect. Then we get to track 5, and it's like, it starts to dip a little bit. And it's kind of like it's a skippable track, but it's still good in its own, way. That's just my opinion on it, though.
What did you think was the best song on the album?
It might be Too Close to Hate. That song is fucking perfect. It's a perfect track, dude. That dual vocal attack in that, I fucking love that shit, dude.
Yeah. I think, to me, Bitch is my favorite song on this album. Like I love it. I will say this though, the heaviest song on this album, I think, is Face.
Really?
And it's because it's slow and it's plotting. And this is an example of a band where you can make a heavy song by slowing down, and you don't need to go blazing fast. You can add weight by moving at a slower tempo. And maybe it's because the rest of the stuff was kind of 4 on the floor type-ish, rock and roll stuff. This song, my notes literally say slow, and there's giant gaps between each letter because I was trying to remember. I think that's heavy as hell.
Yeah. I mean, let's get back to a couple facts, and we'll go into the songs. The crazy part about after selling 310 copies is they remain on the Billboard for 16 weeks, but it only peaks at number 165. And I kind of think that's kind of strange for back then, because new metal back then was, that Korn record was on the Billboard for how long?
Yeah.
And then you have, what comes out around this time, 97, you have
it's Power Man, it's Cold Chamber, it's the burn
Orgy
is the More Things Change is this time.
Yeah, Orgy.
A whole bunch of stuff was starting to pop at the same time. Yep.
And them records were fucking selling crazy, dude.
Yes.
So I'm wondering why the tour is the thing that puts them to the peak and not the album sales. Is TVT just not putting them out there?
I think TVT just ate the dick when it came to distribution, right? I mean, look at some of the other bands that have been on TVT that they just did not do as well as you would have thought. I mean, we talked about who is it? We talked about Day in the Life,
Yeah, yeah.
band that I
Oh, yeah.
absolutely
That's
love.
perfect. Yeah.
And they got, I mean, you had George, who had a pedigree, who had a hardcore pedigree, and they never pushed it the way they should have.
Well, at the same time, though, wasn't TVT signing a lot of the electro like stuff?
Well,
Yeah.
TVT, Wax Tracks, they were close to each other. This was old Nine Inch Nails, so
Yeah.
this was a lot of electronica, all that sort of
Pretty
stuff.
Hate Machine, but that was like
Yeah,
91, wasn't
I,
it?
I
Or no,
just,
that was
I just,
89.
I just think TVT didn't know what to do with them. That's right. It's like Head PE, that interview that David did with the DJ from Head PE, where he talked about on Life is Peachy. Everybody go check that out. Where he talked about how, we thought it'd be awesome to be signed to Jive Records and be this heavy band, and it was great because we were the only heavy band they had, but they had no idea what to do with us.
Yeah, it's like, where do we put these people? Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's kind of funny because you get signed to a huge label and you're thinking like Lance we just talked to. Like you get signed to Roadrunner and you're thinking, yeah, it's just gonna jump off, but they just don't pay attention. Maybe they just got signed at the wrong time. You know what I mean?
It could be. It could be. Now I'm looking at artists that have formerly recorded for TVT, and it's Out Cheer, it's Boba Flex, the Brian Jonestown Massacre, Human 8, right? They're going to
Okay.
show up on that Mortal Kombat soundtrack. Die Warsaw, who I still love. Gravity Kills, Geezer, Guided by Voices, Juno Reactor with Wax Tracks, KMFDM with Wax Tracks. Nothing Face, right? Nine Inch Nails.
What records did Nothing Face put on TVT? I can't remember.
I think it was it the first two? Hold on.
Was it Pacifier and an Audio Guide?
No, Pacifier was D-Side. Audio Guide was Mayhem.
Oh yeah, I forgot they had a record before that. That's right.
Violence. Was it Violence?
Was it?
Yes.
No, Violence
was TVT. Yep.
Really? We should know that. We fucking talked about the record.
I know. We talk about it all the time. But yeah, so TVT has had some Sister Machine Gun, right?
Great band.
Yeah, we should Underworld, VOD at the end of their careers, and the Yin Yang Twins.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
It's hard.
So yeah, they had an interesting roster, but yeah, these guys, I really do think they're the example of a band who had a sound and then just toured the shit out of it until you couldn't help but notice. And nowadays, I don't know if bands. Do you think, Tim, a band could just hit the road and stay on the road and keep going and build that audience?
Well, let's think of a band that's done that. Knocked Loose.
Yeah, they just stayed on the road and kept grinding.
Orthodox.
I would argue that Lorna Shore, they did a sold out American. They did a bunch of festivals. They sold out their own American tour. Now they're doing a second smaller tour in the places that they missed on the first run, and then they're going to go open up for Gojira. So
that Gojira tour is going to put them into the fucking stratosphere.
You think?
Absolutely.
I work with an old head metal guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I have no interest if it has core, and I don't want to listen to it."
Yeah, but he's an old jaded fuck, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I wonder if some of the old heads are going to get into that because it's Gojira and who else? Who's with them? Mastodon?
Yeah,
which is, I don't know. I like old Mastodon. New Mastodon's not my thing.
Here's the thing about Sevendust. The singing is probably the part that people gravitate to because he's a fucking phenomenal vocalist.
Yes.
I mean, listen to the first two records, man. The vocals are perfect. I mean, there's not another singer that sings for that band. He's irreplaceable. It's kind of like, we talked about this before. There's bands that have irreplaceable parts, and that's Deftones. It's Sevendust. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Knocked Loose. You can't put another singer in that band. You can't do it. His vocals are so distinct. No. You can't fucking do it. You can't replace Jonathan Davis. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just.
I think you're right. You couldn't replace Lynn Straight. You couldn't replace LeJean. You couldn't replace the Brian from Knocked Loose. There's a couple of bands where they just their sound is so married to their vocalist that to try and do something different, you're gonna throw it off.
I mean, Deftones is my favorite band. If you replace Chino, I don't care. I don't want to hear it.
Well, I also don't think it would be like the Deftones, because one of the biggest things that makes them successful is their creative tension between him and Stephen Carpenter,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
oh
Those
yeah,
two basically
absolutely.
don't get a. They're like the Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, but that works.
Yeah, and I think that's what you see with Sevendust. I mean, between Clint and Lejean and stuff and Morgan, it's like they're the trio, dude. I mean, Connolly is in there too as well because he stayed with the band when Clint left and all that stuff. But like when he left, the sound changed a little bit. I don't care what anyone says, it did. And then when he came back, it started to sound like Sevendust again.
Yep. Yep.
So I mean, you could disagree with that, and that's fine. But to me, in my opinion, it completely changed. When one big part, like if Steph leaves Deftones, that band sounds
Same thing.
completely
It goes
different.
to. It's just like Chino leaving. It goes in a different direction.
I mean, look at Gore.
Mm.
Gore was trash.
Yeah.
I like 5 songs on the record, and you would think someone saying, "Oh, his favorite band, he thinks it has a trash record." Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
The last 5 songs are fucking garbage. Sorry, don't care. I'm allowed to say that. I'm a super fan, so fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else we got here? So in 2010, they remastered and re-released it with 2 bonus tracks and 2 live tracks. It was called the Definitive Edition, which I did.
I listened. That's the edition I listened to. I mean, it was okay.
I
I
don't
didn't hear
really.
much difference.
I was just gonna say I don't hear much difference in the recording or the remaster. I mean, I don't really hear much of a difference, but
Mm-mm.
also I wasn't actually paying attention to that facet of it. So it's maybe that's what it was. Maybe if I compare them, I'll see a difference, but I didn't really see a difference. Um, so you had three. Here's another thing that's crazy. You have 3 singles. So Black 4/25/97, Bitch 9/14/98. That's a fucking huge gap, dude.
Yeah,
Like, what's with the gap? And like back
that's
then, did you
five.
ever
What's that?
realize
5
that?
months? That's 5 months.
Well, 4/25/97. It's a
Oh
year
shit, that's a
later, a year
year.
and some later, dude.
Man, they
And
were
then Too
grinding,
Close to
huh?
Hate is December 22nd, 98.
Yeah,
That's
they were.
another huge gap.
They were grinding. They were just grinding away.
That's I wonder if that had to do with the sales because putting another single out that far ahead. How many months is that, Jay? So April of
So
97
April of '97
and then
to
September of
July
98.
to July of '98, right? Bitch is July of '98.
No, 9/14, that's September.
9 or 7. Which one of us is wrong? I think Wikipedia is wrong. So either way, that's
Dude, that's
so
fucking
15,
17 months.
15 to 17 months. Yeah.
Like what? That's a whole nother record cycle.
But if you think about, it's 2 record cycles if you're the Black
Yeah.
Dahlia murder. If
Yeah.
you think about it, though, this is back in the days where the label told you, Tim, I'm going to give you money for your album. You need to tour until I recoup.
Yeah,
So you better
yeah.
stay out on the road if you want support for your next album. And they probably just DIY'd it and got on every tour they possibly could. And as luck would have it, new metal starts popping at this time, and they hit the road.
All right, so let's talk about tours in between these. So they hit Warp Tour in 97. Do you that's a weird tour for them.
Wait, Warp Tour 1997.
Yeah, that was the first tour they did for this record. Maybe it was in between when the record came out. When did the record come out again?
I'm
It
looking
was
for
April 15th. So it comes
lineup
out
by
before Warp
year.
Tour because Warp Tour is usually July, right?
Yeah, it's always in the summer.
July, August. You know when the blacktop is 4,000 degrees and you're standing there sweating your dick off.
Yeah, and because you definitely want to be,
And you're a
fucking
fat
toasted.
guy and your thighs feel like shit.
All right, so Warp Tour 97. Who else do you think was on that? So Bad Religion, obviously, Blink-182, Bouncing Souls,
No effects.
Descendants, Face to Face, Head PE,
Okay.
H2O,
Ooh, okay.
Limp Bizkit was 97,
Why are they really?
Boss Tones, Orange 9, Pennywise, Real Big Fish, Sick of It All, Snot.
Okay. Oh, so there was new metal
So
on.
I wonder if these were like, because this will list though, bands like Snot. I don't think Snot was a VOD. I don't think they were on the tour. I think they just played certain shows, right? So like it comes through Santa Barbara, it's in Snot's backyard, they're gonna play. It comes
Okay.
through New York, VOD's around, they're gonna play. I would like to know
Gotcha.
who the touring. Okay.
So
Um,
Sevendust is Georgia. So
yeah.
I forget. I think they're Atlanta. So yeah, maybe
Yes.
you're right. Maybe or maybe they played a East Coast leg of it, or
I'm looking for the touring lineup.
what for Warped?
Yeah. So
Okay,
not who played that year, but who was on the tour.
gotcha,
And
gotcha.
because I'm very curious to see if they were a Jesus 2017. God, get me back further than that, man.
Yeah, I know. I remember while you're looking for that. I remember writing that down, and I was like, Warp Tour for 7. I'm like, okay, okay, because like Warp Tour, you're so used to always okay. It's gonna be Pennywise, no effects.
Oh, they list Boss Tones, Blink 182, Limp Bizkit, Real Big Fish, Weezer, Sugar Ray, Sunchild, but this was the Idaho stop. So yeah, we're gonna have to do some internet sleuthing to find who actually played what venues. But the
And if
fact
you're
remains,
listening, tell
and
us
you
in the
know,
comments. Yeah.
yeah, let us know.
So after Warp Tour, they do Ozfest '98. Look that up real quick because I know we talk about Ozfest a lot, but it's a very important tour to the genre we speak about. So let's talk
So
about it again.
Ozfest 98
And
is
my ear itches again. God damn it.
so this is main stage is Ozzy, Tool, Megadeth, Limp Bizkit, Soulfly, Sevendust, Cold Chamber, System of a Down.
Hmm.
Second stage is Motorhead, the Melvins, Incubus, Snot, Ultraspank, Kilgore, Monster Voodoo Machine. I don't think Life of Agony made that tour. I don't think they did.
So
But yeah,
Sevendust does main stage of Ozfest,
yes.
which is not surprising after they do Warp Tour. They okay. But I wonder if they bought onto that though.
I don't know. I mean, would it surprise you if they did? I mean, that was
Not at
Sharon
all.
Osbourne's.
I mean, if they did, it fucking helped dramatically. So 99, they go out with Limp Bizkit as the opener. Then they do a co-headline with Cold Chamber, and then
I
Woodstock
saw that
99.
tour. They actually canceled the show that I was supposed to see. It was the Ladies' Night in Cambodia tour. It was at the Electric Factory, and the first 150 girls got in for free,
Oh, okay.
and no
Oh
Seven
yeah, yeah,
Dust.
yeah.
So
That's right.
it
That's right.
was Limp Bizkit, Clutch, and some terrible opener that got skewered.
Oh, that's crazy. I yeah. Hey, here's another thing. So in 2017, they play a 20th anniversary show in their hometown. So they play the record in full. But I'm really surprised they didn't do a full tour for that. But at the same time, when do you think full album tours was popular after COVID? Like as soon as COVID was like kind of ending? Because I don't remember bands ever doing full album tours. Do you?
It was yeah, but they were starting to pick up speed leading up to the lockdown. I think after the lockdown, everybody is just out and about, and it's an easy way to say, hey, you know what? Let's dust off this album. It's on its 18th anniversary, and we'll just tour off it. But there were bands like like Hatebreed did the 20 Years of Satisfaction, and
Yeah.
then I think Korn did a tour where they played the first album in its entirety. So I think that was a thing, but now it is way now in 2023, it's way more prevalent.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I don't think it was as popular then because if you do a full record tour of that, that'll probably be huge, man.
I think so. I mean, I think it would draw. I mean, I know who else did it. Machine Head's done it once or twice. Finch did the 10th or 20th anniversary tours. I think for What It Is to Burn, or is this year the 20th?
Can't remember. That's
I
the
think
next
this
record
year
we're
is the
doing though.
20th. I'm going to that show in Atlantic City. I don't care. It's worth the egregious amount I paid in tickets. But yeah, I think you're right. They were few and far between. Now though, it's way more prevalent to say, hey, grab an old album that's hitting an anniversary and let's hit the road with it.
And it's smart too because if you need something to go out there and sell tickets for and merch and shit, why not do it? Fuck it.
Yep.
I
Yep.
would. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But as of album facts, there you go. But I want to throw in a couple things of, just our thoughts. So originally the band was called Rumblefish,
Mm-hmm.
but they changed name because another band had it. Then they changed it to Crawlspace, but another band had it. And here's the funny part. The old band Crawlspace, weren't they a hardcore band from like the UK or some shit?
I don't know.
I
I
can't.
don't
Why
know.
do I feel like
You
they're a
might be
UK
right.
hardcore band? But so they hit up the guys and they say, we want $2,500 for the naming rights. It's like, what? That's all?
I mean, I see a band here that was Australian rock band.
That's it. I could have swore there was a hardcore band named Crawl Space.
There definitely is. There was a death metal hardcore a death metal hardcore band from Belgium called Crawl Space.
Maybe that was
I
it.
think that's it.
That was probably it.
Yep.
But at the
Tough
same
Guy
time,
Hardcore. Yep.
there you go. So yeah, I was right. But I think that Sevendust is the better name out of the three, honestly. I think
Oh,
that's the
absolutely.
sticking point right there.
Absolutely.
So Crawlspace puts out that song My Ruin on Mortal Kombat, and we're gonna talk about that, right?
Yep.
So we'll have to go back to that. But I know we did our top 20 new metal records, and this was definitely in my top 10. But there's a reason why it's one of the best records in the genre. You really you can't say much about it. And I think and Home was in my top 2 or my top 10 as well. Just the from this record to the follow up to Home. I mean, that's a you don't get any fucking you don't get the sophomore slump in that one. That record is even better in my opinion, man.
Yeah, this is the first time I've listened to this album in a long time, and it held up really, really, really well. It's I mean, it's for a first album, these guys were pretty damn tight. They wrote catchy songs and they didn't come across as derivative, which is to me, the most important thing. That not every song sounds exactly the same.
Would you say that this is one of the most influential bands and records in the genre too? Because how many bands hit that fucking that a lot of bands do that shit nowadays too.
Back they weren't ripped off as plainly back then as some of the other bands. They weren't as ripped off, but now I definitely think you can see Clint Lowry's influence. You could see the Lowry brothers' influence and Morgan Rose's influence in his drumming. I think you could see it in some of the more modern stuff. Yeah.
It's just crazy to me that like when I talk to people about new metal, nobody talks about this band. I'm like, you don't fucking like Sevendust? No, I don't really do it for me. I'm like, what?
Well,
Like, how do you not like them records, man? A lot of people
like Godsmack either.
Yeah, a lot of people like the old or the newer Sevendust, which is strange to me because I'm like, it's pretty much the same thing, dude. It's just not as raw and which is strange. Yeah, talking about Godsmack, my buddy asked me if I wanted to go to that today, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Every new metal band is out on the road this summer. Godsmack with Stained, Mudvayne with Cold Chamber, and who else they taken out?
On that tour, isn't it Power Man?
No, it's Mudvayne, Cold Chamber, and somebody else. It's I mean, it's kind of funny, but hey, do your thing.
Well, we just seen Mushroom Head.
Yeah, Mushroom Head dope. There's another Head PE tour which we just missed. It's just coming through. I think it's coming up next week or so. It's Head PE, Crazy Town X, Edema and Tantric. I think.
What the fuck is Tantric on there for?
I don't know. Cold Chamber, stupid. Guar, Non-Point, and the Butcher Babies.
That's right, Guar. Yeah, and Non-Point. Yeah.
Jesus, Guar.
Yeah, I want to talk about something on here too. I think they did themselves a solid on the recording quality of this because it's not great, but it's not bad either. Like it's just raw enough. It's just raw enough for the sound, but it fits perfectly, dude. Like I think because back then, you didn't have Pro Tools yet. I don't think. Can you look up when Pro Tools came up?
Yep.
Because I want to know the exact year that came out because to me. When I think about the dudes from Twisted Sister doing it, there's no fucking way they use Pro Tools.
89.
It came out in 89?
The original release of Pro Tools was 1989.
Wow. What? How would you even run it back then?
I don't know.
I have a fucking $1,700 computer that I built, and it sucks running Pro Tools. Pro Tools is the biggest memory hog of all time.
The ancestor of Pro Tools was Sound Designer. The name was Digit Design. And in 1985, the price was $995.
It's pretty much the same nowadays.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
Nowadays, it's a subscription. You got to pay it like every month or some, or every year or some bullshit.
Just download the crack and turn off your nets, your browser.
Yeah, Jay didn't say that. Don't listen to him, but yes.
So Sound Designer was the original name, came out in 1985. Sound Tools was the official release in 1989. The first branded version of Pro Tools was 1991.
Wow. That's fucking crazy.
That's nuts.
I thought it was like late 90s or some shit.
Nope. And here we are. It's 20. Is it still around, Tim? Do people still use it?
Oh, yeah. It's industry standard. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Everyone loves that shit. I think it sucks. I think Reaper's the best.
Yeah, I was going to say, aren't you a big Reaper fan? Yeah.
I love Reaper. It's great. It does the same exact shit. Doesn't kill my memory. And see, a lot of people get memory and hard drive mixed up. Oh, I got plenty of memory. I got two terabytes of memory. No, you don't. You have 2 terabytes of hard drive space.
You have 2 terabytes of storage. Memory
exactly.
Is way different. Yeah.
That's what my buddy says. Oh, I got 2 terabytes of memory. No, you don't.
No, you have 2 terabytes of storage, but your memory, you probably have like 8 gigs. You really need like 64. Yeah.
I have 32 and it's not enough.
Yeah. It's like trying to run fucking iTunes.
Right.
iTunes reboots your mom's computer. It's so terrible.
Can we agree that this record is way ahead of its fucking time?
Yes, I think so. I think, and one of the things, I had this conversation with somebody else about nu metal, where I do think, Tim, this might be one of those example bands where there was so much coming out so fast and everything was so unique. Some of that uniqueness got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Right? Because you had them, Power Man, Cold Chamber, Ultraspank, Snot, Kilgore, Limp Bizkit, Head PE. All these bands are just System of a Down, hammering. Korn put out another album, and then the cycle repeats. And then you had the bands that weren't nu metal bands putting out nu metal albums. All that stuff kept coming. And I think it was probably easy for some of these bands that were really talented to maybe get lost in the sauce.
Well, yeah. I mean, we talk about that all the time. It's like, wait, when did that band come out, and why weren't they popular?
Yep.
I mean, it happens a lot, but at the same time, like we said before, the touring definitely is the big part.
Get in the van. Yeah, back then it was get in the van and just go. Get in the van and go.
What's up with that album artwork for this, though? What the fuck is that?
It's a picture of somebody smoking a joint that's been manipulated.
Oh, is it? Oh, now I see it. Okay.
Yep. Because I think it's on the back cover. If on the back cover of the CD, it's the unedited picture. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, we don't have to go through every track, but let's talk about a little bit about them. But yeah, you know what the funny part is, dude? One of these songs was on Celebrity Deathmatch. Which one was it?
Terminator.
It was Terminator, yeah. Yeah, that show is fucking horrible.
It was kind of funny when it first came out. Now when you go back, you're like, woof.
What was that? What was that again? A claymation bullshit?
Yeah, let's get it on. So I don't want to go track by track, but we talked about the first 4 are just complete bangers. We both agreed that Wired is kind of meh. The My Ruin on this album, I think I like the Mortal Kombat one better because there was reverb added to his vocals. Not just a reverb in the Mortal Kombat one. There was reverb, but it also was, I don't know what the proper name of the effect is, but it kind of sounds like you're underwater. That was on the verse, and it's not on this version, and I think it kind of loses something. I'm
going to have to go back and listen to that. But yeah, like a little bit about the track. So like in Black, that intro part, man, that's fucking,
yep.
you know what band that is as soon as you hear that shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the great part about this record is so many bands back then, they did that stupid intro song where it's like noise or it's like some stupid dragged out bullshit. But when you go right into Black on this, like you let people know what the fuck's up. And I love when bands do that because we have this thing now, me and you were like, I permanently go to the second track nowadays. Permanently. And if the second track sucks, I go, God damn it. Am I going to miss something on this first track? And then most of the time I'll go back to it and I'm like, yeah, first track sucks too. But this is, if you go to the second track on this, it's just as good as the opener.
Yes, I would dare arguably just as good, if not better. What's the best? What's the best album intro you've heard in a while, Tim? What's the last one you heard that stands out to you?
Oh my god, dude! I literally just had this in my head because I said it to myself, and now I can't think of it. What the fuck, man? I literally just listened to this record not too long ago.
It's my vote is the newest Vane album because that intro is absolutely terrifying, and then it takes off from there.
Ah, dude, I'm gonna think of it. It's gonna be. I'm gonna wake up in 3 a.m. and be like, "That's the record."
Text me and be like, oh, this one.
Yeah, you're probably up.
But you're right. Those first four are great. Wired is okay. I actually do like Prayer. I think the harmony in that chorus is amazing. Like it sounds great. And even Face, well, Face, I already said, I think it's the heaviest song on the album.
Yeah, like the opening lyrics of "Bitch," man, iconic stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like every fucking person is singing that shit live, dude. And that's when you know you have a hit, dude. And like that riff is so tasty in the chorus or the verse. God damn, dude. And I usually don't care for double attack stuff because like most of the time it just doesn't work well. But this band does the dual vocal attack perfectly.
Yeah.
Like they nail it at the correct time. They don't force it.
It's not overdone.
It's just perfect the way they do it. It's been perfect their whole career, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's stuff like that that sets a mediocre band and a great band apart, in my opinion. Is when you can nail shit like that and you can get people pumped up. That's what just it's the difference between a mediocre band and a great band.
Yep. Yep.
And when you can do that on your first record, that's special shit, man.
Agreed. Skipping way around. What did you think of the last track on the album, Born to Die?
Well, it's not your typical 18-minute song to go out. I know that. So that's a plus. But I was surprised how heavy that song is, especially for the the closer.
I will tell you, Tim, my note here is first of all, it's obviously a B-side. Something about the vibe to me, I wrote I could have left this off the album. It almost doesn't feel like it fit to me, but I didn't let that thought rattle around enough to help flesh it out, but I really did feel like, yeah, I don't know if this fits here. Like, is it a bolt on? I mean, could they have ended with My Ruin? I don't know.
It could have been it could have been TVT saying we need, a certain amount of tracks. Here you go.
Yeah, it could be.
Because that was prevalent back then. Like, let's bore you to death with because it has to be 13 tracks. But dude, like songs like Terminator, though, man, that's a fucking absolute banger.
Yeah.
Just absolute fucking banger. That verse riff just beats your ass. Love it. Like they have a way of instantly making you bob your head on every track. On the first four, like the first four are just absolute classics.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard, dude, because like if you get one or two tracks that make people just vibe right away, dude, but when you do 4 or 5 in a row, like that's crazy shit, dude. That's when you know you have a band right
You're
there.
onto something. Yeah, that's how you know you're onto something. Yep.
And then when you put out the second record, every track on that record makes you bob your head.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of them things that I really like when I listen to bands. I'm like, if I'm driving down the street and I put on a record and it doesn't make me move in some kind of way, I usually hate it right away. Or if it doesn't make me want to go back to it and fucking sing a part or something, I hate it. You know what I mean? And that's prevalent a lot these days with like especially hardcore bands. It's like,
yeah, you can
forget
you're
phoning that one in. But this is new metal classic stuff right here.
Yes.
It's just hard. It's just hard to replicate, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Especially nowadays because everyone like nowadays with new metal, it's. I mean that one record we just talked about the other day. The what's the band we just did with the mask on? The fuck from the dudes from Motograder. Cultist Black.
Yes.
Dude, that record, I listened to it yesterday. That record's fucking great, dude. I swear to God, I felt like I was back in 99.
I gotta check it out then. Okay.
It's like being back in 99, but it's like the production's a little better.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy, like how some bands like catch on. Some bands are catching back on to that vibe of new metal, and it's coming back where a lot of the bands that people call new metal nowadays are just basically metalcore bands with gent riffs.
Yeah, some of the outliers is like that stuff like Evil Gloom. Did you hear that new Omerta song?
I didn't yet, but some dude asked us to react to it.
Yo, it is no joke. Even Ross Robinson came out and said, "Yeah, they're the real deal. Like this is flashback vibes." Yeah, and
He didn't do it.
no, or wait, he might have done. Wait a minute. I think let me check out. Let me check the news here. But I'm pretty sure that he came out and said that they're no joke. Um, they're the next generation of the genre.
Okay.
Is his exact quote.
And the funny thing about O Murder is they tour with just straight hardcore all the time.
Yeah, they played LDB.
Yeah.
They toured. They just came through with Loathe and Static Dress. Yeah, they're opening for the Amity Affliction in May.
Yo, here's my notes too for Prayer. This is a song Jay probably loves with that intro guitar part all funky and stuff.
Yep, yep.
See, that's hilarious.
I
Dude.
love. I think that song is great. And Face, and then Speak and Will It Bleed. They were good, but I mean, not resonant enough for me to go back to.
So I'll go back to Too Close to Hate. That is definitely my favorite song on the record. It's just that chorus is absolute fucking heat. I don't care what anyone says. Like that is the perfect song from the. I think it's. If I go back to and someone says to me, "What's your favorite Sevendust song?" It might be Too Close to Hate out of all their records, and
That's
they
fair.
have a
That's fair.
shitload of records. What are they at now? Number fucking 12 now.
I think so. Yeah, it was up there.
I
Wait a
mean,
minute.
and
It was kind of nuts.
that's saying a lot because on I think every song on Home is good. I don't think there's a bad riff on Home. That's how good I think that record is.
9,
Yeah.
10, 11, 12, 13 they're up to.
Wow. That's a fucking career, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It don't get much better than 13, 13 records and countless how many fucking tours they've done. And they're still like as big as they were.
Yep.
So when it comes to this, so you said your favorite song was again?
My favorite song was Bitch, hands down. But I Too Close to Hate is up there. Prayer is up there, and I really do like My Ruin. Like I do. I like that song a lot.
What track is that again?
It's the next My Ruin is 11. It's next to last.
That's right. Yeah, it's a good track, but I got to go back and listen to both versions of it and see which one I prefer. Because that one part you're talking about, I got to go back and listen to that.
Yeah, and if you can't find that Mortal Kombat album, I have a link I can send you. I have it in my YouTube music library, and I actually made it public because I had to go and compile it off of different Soulseek downloads because I couldn't fucking find anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think at this point we can call it a day.
Put this one to bed. It was great to revisit this. It was great to re-listen. Brought back some old memories, but man, 13 albums later, you can tell that they had talent from the jump. They really did. Watch that Woodstock performance, man. That's a fun performance.
I was literally going to bring that up before we left. That is great.
Yeah,
that is back then where like they had all the like the outfits were like super new right there. You know what I mean?
Yo, that was the one guy comes out with like the flames on the bowling shirt. That is cringe new metal, but it's like, yo, I love it.
Oh my god, yeah, it is.
That's and the chain wallets. Love the chain wallets. Yep.
Out of 10, what do you got?
Oh god, this has got to be at least an 8.
Yep,
it's got to be at least an 8.
8. At me as well. 8. I think it's an 8. It don't really. I mean, if you take out a couple songs, it'd be a 9 for me. But yeah, it's an 8.
Yeah, it definitely is an 8. All right,
Home is a 10 out of 10, but yeah, this is an 8.
Well, we're going to get to that eventually. We got a lot of time left. So I want to thank all of you for tuning in, watching, listening once again. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you agreed with our opinions. What do you think? Is it an 8? Is it a 9? Is it a 10? Is it lower than that? Let us know. New Breed _podcast on both Twitter and Instagram, newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on r/new metal or find us on our Facebook group. So thanks again for tuning in and listening once again. And until next time, this is a New Breed podcast saying peace.
Later.